In a distant future, humans had spread across the stars. They lived on planets far from Earth, building cities and making new homes. But even with all their progress, there were still mysteries in the universe that no one could solve. One of these mysteries was hidden deep in a dangerous part of space called the Andromeda Expanse. This area was filled with black holes, strange energy storms, and places where ships often disappeared. Most civilizations avoided it, thinking it was too risky to explore. But not everyone thought the same way. A group of human scientists, led by Dr. Ryan Carter and his assistant, Lisa Monroe, decided to take a closer look at this mysterious region. They had been studying data collected by probes sent into the expanse. What they found shocked them. There were faint signals coming from near the edge of a massive black hole. These signals didn't match anything known to science. It was as if something, or someone, was trying to communicate from inside the black hole itself. When Ryan and Lisa shared their discovery with others, many people laughed at them. Alien races, who were much older and more advanced than humans, dismissed the idea as nonsense. Nothing can survive near a black hole, they said. It's impossible. But Ryan wasn't so sure. He believed that just because something seemed impossible didn't mean it wasn't worth investigating. After all, humans had always been curious. They had walked on the moon, built machines that traveled to other planets, and solved problems no one else thought they could. Why should this be any different? The two scientists decided to present their findings to the Galactic Council, a powerful group made up of leaders from many species. The council met on a huge space station orbiting a beautiful blue planet. When Ryan and Lisa arrived, they felt nervous but excited. They knew their ideas might sound crazy, but they also knew they had evidence to back them up. During the meeting, Ryan stood in front of the council members and explained what they had discovered. He showed charts and graphs, pointing out the unusual patterns in the energy readings. Lisa added her own observations, describing how the signals changed over time. "We don't know exactly what we're dealing with here," Ryan admitted, "but we think it's important enough to investigate further." Most of the council members weren't interested. Some even rolled their eyes or whispered jokes to each other. But one person listened carefully. Her name was Catherine Hale, and she was a human ambassador to the council. Unlike the others, Catherine believed in taking risks. She thought that exploring the unknown was what made humanity special. "If anyone can figure this out," she said, "it's us." Catherine argued passionately for funding a mission to send a team to the Andromeda Expanse. At first, the other council members refused. They thought it was too dangerous and a waste of resources. But Catherine didn't give up. She reminded them of all the times humans had done things no one thought possible. Finally, after hours of debate, the council agreed to support the mission, but only if humans took full responsibility for it. Ryan and Lisa left the meeting feeling hopeful but aware of the challenges ahead. They knew finding answers wouldn't be easy. The black hole was millions of miles away, and getting close to it would require advanced technology and careful planning. Still, they were determined to try. If they succeeded, they might uncover secrets about the universe that no one had ever imagined. And if they failed, well, failure was just another step toward success. At least, that's what Ryan kept telling himself. As they prepared to leave the space station, Ryan turned to Lisa and smiled. "No one thought we could do this," he said. "But we're going to prove them wrong." Lisa nodded, her eyes shining with excitement. Together, they stepped onto a shuttle bound for Earth, ready to begin the next chapter of their incredible journey. Little did they know, their decision would change everything, not just for humanity, but for the entire galaxy. After receiving approval from the Galactic Council, Ambassador Catherine Hale wasted no time assembling a team for the mission. She knew that success would depend on choosing the right people, individuals who were not only skilled but also brave enough to face the unknown. The first person she approached was Captain Daniel Hayes, a seasoned astronaut known for his calm demeanor and quick thinking during emergencies. Daniel had spent years exploring distant planets and leading teams through dangerous missions. When Catherine explained the mission to him, he didn't hesitate to accept. He understood the risks but believed it was an opportunity humanity couldn't pass up. Next, Catherine recruited Dr. Emily Shaw, an astrophysicist whose research on black holes had earned her international recognition. Emily had always been fascinated by the mysteries of space, and this mission offered her a chance to study something truly extraordinary. Her expertise would be crucial in understanding the strange energy signals coming from the Andromeda expanse. Alongside Emily was Alex Rivera, a brilliant engineer with a reputation for fixing anything, no matter how broken. Alex loved solving problems and thrived under pressure. His job would be to ensure the ship remained operational despite the harsh conditions they were likely to encounter. Finally, Catherine added Sophie Bennett to the team. Sophie was a xenolinguist, someone who studied alien languages and cultures, while the others focused on science and engineering. Sophie's role was to interpret any messages or symbols they might find. If there really was some kind of intelligence near the black hole, Sophie would be the one to communicate with it. Together, the four formed a diverse and capable crew, each bringing their own unique strengths to the mission. The team gathered aboard the EOS Asterisk, a sleek exploration vessel designed for long journeys into deep space. The ship was equipped with advanced technology, including powerful shields to protect against radiation and specialized sensors to detect even the faintest energy signals. Before departure, Daniel called everyone to the main conference room for a meeting. He stood at the front, looking at the faces of his crew. "This isn't going to be easy," he said. "We're heading into uncharted territory, and we don't know what we'll find. But if we work together, we can handle whatever comes our way." Emily nodded, her eyes filled with determination. "I've waited my whole life for a chance like this," she said. "Let's make it count." Alex grinned, cracking a joke about how he'd finally get to test all his theories about black holes. Sophie, quieter than the others, simply smiled. She felt a mix of excitement and nervousness, but trusted that her skills would help the team succeed. As the EOS Asterisk prepared for launch, news of the mission spread across human colonies and beyond. Many people doubted the crew's chances of success. Alien leaders openly mocked the idea, calling it reckless and foolish. Some humans agreed, questioning whether the mission was worth the risk, but others saw it differently. To them, this was a chance to prove that humanity could achieve great things even when the odds were against them. On the day of departure, thousands of people gathered to watch the EOS Asterisk lift off. Families waved goodbye, children pointed excitedly at the sky, and reporters recorded every moment. As the engines roared to life, Daniel sat in the captain's chair, feeling both proud and humbled. He glanced at his crew, each busy with their tasks, and reminded himself why they were doing this. It wasn't just about solving a mystery. It was about showing the universe what humans were capable of. The journey to the Andromeda expanse took several weeks. During that time, the crew worked hard to prepare for whatever lay ahead. Emily ran simulations based on the energy readings, trying to predict what they might encounter. Alex inspected every inch of the ship, making sure everything was in perfect condition. Sophie studied ancient texts and records, searching for references to similar phenomena. Meanwhile, Daniel kept the team focused, encouraging them to stay positive despite the uncertainty. As they approached their destination, the mood aboard the EOS Asterisk grew tense. The black hole loomed ahead, its immense gravity distorting the stars around it. Strange lights flickered in the distance, and the ship's sensors picked up unusual readings. For the first time, the crew began to feel the weight of their mission. They were about to step into the unknown, facing challenges that no one had ever encountered before. But instead of fear, they felt a shared sense of purpose. Whatever happened next, they would face it together, as humans always had. As the EOS Asterisk entered the Andromeda expanse, the crew quickly realized that this part of space was unlike anything they had ever seen. The ship's sensors went haywire. picking up strange energy spikes and gravitational distortions that made navigation difficult. Emily Shaw worked tirelessly at her station, trying to make sense of the chaotic data streaming in. "It's like the laws of physics are bending here," she muttered, her fingers flying across the control panel. Alex Rivero was nearby, monitoring the ship's systems. He kept a close eye on the engines, knowing that even the smallest malfunction could leave them stranded in this dangerous region. Captain Daniel Hayes stood on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the view screen. Ahead of them, the black hole loomed larger with each passing moment. Its swirling mass seemed to pull everything toward it, including light itself. Surrounding the black hole was a ring of glowing debris, remnants of stars and planets torn apart by its immense gravity. But what caught everyone's attention was something else entirely. Near the edge of the event horizon, there was a faint shimmer, almost like a doorway suspended in space. It pulsed with colors that no one had ever seen before: deep purples, shimmering golds, and soft blues. The sight was both beautiful and unsettling. "What is that?" Sophie Bennett asked, her voice barely above a whisper. She had joined the others on the bridge, unable to look away from the mysterious phenomenon. No one had an answer. Whatever it was, it didn't match any known astronomical object or natural occurrence. The crew stared in silence, their minds racing with questions. Was it some kind of alien technology, a gateway to another dimension, or something even stranger? Daniel broke the silence. "We need to get closer," he said firmly. His tone left no room for argument. Despite the risks, they had come too far to turn back now. Emily nodded in agreement, though her expression showed a mix of excitement and concern. "If we're going to learn anything, we'll have to pass through that. Whatever it is," she said, pointing at the shimmering portal. Alex tightened his grip on the controls, preparing for whatever challenges lay ahead. As the *EOS* approached the anomaly, the ship began to shake violently. Alarms blared as the gravitational forces grew stronger, threatening to pull them into the black hole. "Shields at 70%. Alex shouted, his hands moving quickly to stabilize the vessel. "I'm rerouting power to the engines." Sophie clung to the back of a chair, her knuckles white, as she watched the chaos unfold. Even Daniel, usually calm under pressure, felt a twinge of fear. This was uncharted territory, and none of them knew if their ship, or their bodies, could withstand the strain. Emily focused intently on the readings, her voice steady despite the tension. "The portal is emitting some kind of energy field. It's interacting with our systems, but I don't think it's hostile. At least not yet." Her words offered a small measure of reassurance, but the situation remained precarious. The closer they got, the more unstable the environment became. Stars outside the windows stretched and twisted, distorted by the intense gravitational pull. Finally, after what felt like hours, the shaking subsided just enough for Daniel to make a decision. "Hold on," he warned the crew. With a deep breath, he guided the *EOS* toward the shimmering portal. For a brief moment, everything went dark. The ship's systems flickered, and the crew braced themselves for the worst. Then suddenly, they emerged on the other side. What awaited them was beyond anything they could have imagined. Instead of being pulled into the black hole, they found themselves in a completely different place. The sky above them glowed with vibrant hues, and floating islands drifted lazily in the air. Rivers of liquid light wound their way across the landscape, casting reflections that danced on the ship's windows. Strange plants with bioluminescent leaves swayed gently, as if alive. It was breathtaking and utterly alien. For a few moments, no one spoke. They simply stared in awe at the surreal world around them. Finally, Daniel broke the silence. "Well," he said with a small smile, "looks like we found something impossible." Sophie stepped forward, her eyes wide with wonder. "This place, it feels alive," she whispered. Emily nodded, already analyzing the readings. "The energy here is off the charts. It's like nothing we've ever encountered." Alex let out a low whistle. "So much for sticking to the plan," he joked, though his tone betrayed a hint of unease. Despite the beauty of their surroundings, they all knew they were far from safe. This new dimension might hold incredible secrets, but it could also be filled with dangers they couldn't begin to predict. As the crew prepared to explore this strange new world, they couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and trepidation. They had crossed into the unknown, defying logic and reason. Now they would have to rely on their courage, intelligence, and teamwork to uncover the truth about this impossible place and hopefully find a way back home. The crew of the *EOS* stared out at the strange new world, their minds struggling to process what they were seeing. It was unlike any planet or dimension they had ever encountered. Floating islands drifted lazily in the air, some covered in glowing plants, while others sparkled with crystalline structures. Rivers of liquid light flowed between them, creating a mesmerizing web of color and movement. The air shimmered faintly, as if alive with energy. Despite its beauty, there was an eerie quality to the place, a sense that it existed outside the normal rules of reality. Captain Daniel Hayes gave the order to land on one of the larger floating islands nearby. As the *EOS* descended, the crew prepared for their first steps into this alien environment. They donned protective suits equipped with sensors to monitor radiation levels and oxygen content. Though initial scans suggested the atmosphere was breathable, caution was essential when exploring such an unknown place. Once outside, the team split up to cover more ground. Emily Shaw stayed near the ship, setting up equipment to analyze the energy field surrounding them. Alex Rivera accompanied her, ready to repair anything that might malfunction due to the strange conditions. Meanwhile, Daniel and Sophie Bennett ventured further inland, searching for signs of life, or perhaps evidence of whoever had created this place. As they walked, Sophie noticed carvings etched into the surface of the island. At first glance, they appeared random, but upon closer inspection, she realized they formed intricate patterns. "Daniel, look at this," she said, crouching down to examine the markings. The symbols were unlike anything she had seen before. Swirling lines intertwined with geometric shapes. Some glowed faintly, pulsing in rhythm with the rivers of light flowing around them. Sophie took out her scanner and began recording the symbols, hoping to decipher their meaning. "This could be a language," she said thoughtfully. "Or maybe instructions. I'm not sure yet." Daniel nodded, keeping watch as she worked. He trusted Sophie's expertise but couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. The hairs on the back of his neck stood up, though he saw no sign of movement. Back at the ship, Emily made a startling discovery. Her instruments detected residual energy emanating from deep within the island. "It's like echoes of something powerful," she explained to Alex. "Whatever created this place left behind traces of its power." Alex frowned, looking around warily. "Do you think it's still here?" he asked. Emily hesitated before answering. "I don't know, but if it is, we need to tread carefully." Hours passed as the crew gathered data and explored the area. Eventually, Daniel and Sophie came across ruins half buried in the glowing vegetation. The structures seemed ancient, their surfaces worn smooth by time. Intricate carvings adorned the walls, depicting scenes that told a story. Sophie studied them closely, piecing together fragments of meaning. "These beings, they harnessed the energy of this place," she said slowly. "They used it to create something incredible." Daniel leaned in, trying to understand. "What kind of something?" he asked. Sophie pointed to a series of images showing a massive structure surrounded by swirling energy. "It looks like they built some sort of machine, or maybe a gateway." But then, her voice trailed off as she traced her finger over another section of the carving. This part showed destruction, rivers of fire, collapsing structures, and figures fleeing in terror. "They lost control," Sophie concluded grimly. "Whatever they created turned against them. Maybe that's why this place feels so empty now." Meanwhile, back at the ship, Emily noticed something odd. Her sensors picked up faint vibrations coming from beneath the island. At first, she thought it might be natural activity, but the pattern was too regular. "Alex, "Come take a look at this," she said urgently. Together, they analyzed the readings and realized the vibrations matched the rhythm of the glowing symbols Sophie had found earlier. Before they could alert Daniel and Sophie, the ground beneath them began to tremble. The vibrations grew stronger, shaking loose rocks and sending waves rippling through the rivers of light. Panic set in as the crew scrambled to regroup. Daniel grabbed Sophie's arm and pulled her toward the ship, shouting into his communicator, "Emily, Alex, we need to leave. Now." But just as they reached the ship, the trembling stopped. The air grew still, and an eerie silence fell over the island. Then, without warning, a massive shape emerged from the glowing mist. It towered above them, its crystalline body refracting light in dazzling patterns. For a moment, everyone froze, staring up at the colossal being. "It's alive," Emily whispered, her voice filled with awe. The creature radiated energy, its presence both beautiful and terrifying. It didn't move aggressively, but its sheer size and power made it clear that it was no ordinary life form. Daniel stepped forward cautiously, raising his hands to show he meant no harm. "We're explorers," he said loudly, hoping the gesture would convey peace. Whether the being understood or not remained unclear, but one thing was certain: their journey had only just begun. The massive crystalline being loomed over the crew, its shimmering surface reflecting the glowing rivers of light that flowed around them. At first, it seemed to simply observe, its form shifting slightly as if studying the humans before it. The crew stood frozen, unsure whether to run, fight, or try to communicate. Captain Daniel Hayes kept his hands raised, signaling peace, while Sophie Bennett clutched her scanner, her mind racing with possibilities. "It's not attacking," Emily Shaw whispered, her voice trembling but filled with wonder. "It's waiting." Alex Rivera nodded slowly, though his hand hovered near the weapon at his side, just in case. Despite their fear, there was something calming about the creature's presence, as if it radiated a sense of ancient wisdom. Sophie stepped forward cautiously, lowering her scanner and focusing on the patterns etched into the being's surface. To her surprise, they resembled the symbols she had seen earlier in the ruins. "I think it's trying to talk," she said softly, turning to the others. "Those markings, it's using the same language." Daniel frowned but didn't stop her. "Be careful," he warned. Sophie nodded, taking another step closer. She activated her translator device, hoping it could interpret the pulsing lights and vibrations coming from the creature. After a few tense moments, the device emitted a series of soft tones. The crystalline being responded by shifting its shape, sending waves of color rippling across its body. "It understands us," Sophie said, excitement breaking through her nervousness. "At least I think it does." Slowly, she began speaking, using simple phrases and gestures. "We mean no harm," she said clearly. "We are explorers. We came here to learn." The being paused, its glow dimming slightly as if considering her words. Then, it emitted a low hum that resonated through the air, vibrating against their suits. Sophie's translator struggled to process the sound, but fragments of meaning began to emerge. "It calls itself Solon," she explained, glancing back at the others. "It says it's a guardian." "A guardian of what?" Daniel asked, his voice steady despite the tension in the air. Sophie listened intently as more fragmented translations appeared on her device. "Of this place," she replied, "and of something called the Singularity." Emily's eyes widened. The Singularity. That must be the source of all this energy. She quickly pulled up her readings, confirming that the energy signatures were strongest near the center of the island where the ruins lay. "If we can understand how it works, we might unlock secrets about the universe itself." But Solon's next message was less encouraging. Through Sophie's translator, it conveyed a warning. The Singularity was dangerous. Long ago, the civilization that created this dimension had tried to harness its power, only to lose control. The result was catastrophic, destroying their world and leaving behind only remnants, the ruins, the glowing flora, and Solon itself. Now, the Guardian existed to ensure no one else made the same mistake. Alex frowned, crossing his arms. So we're supposed to just leave? After coming all this way? His frustration was clear, but Daniel shot him a sharp look. We'll figure it out, he said firmly. Turning back to Sophie, he added, ask Solon if we can study the singularity safely. Maybe there's a way to learn without repeating history. Sophie hesitated, then relayed the question. Solon's response came slowly, its colors flickering uncertainly. Finally, the translation appeared. Access to the singularity required permission, and even then, it was risky. Only those who proved themselves worthy could approach it. What does worthy mean? Alex muttered under his breath. Sophie ignored him, focusing on the task at hand. Solon wants proof, she explained. Proof that we won't misuse its power. This revelation sparked a debate among the crew. Emily argued that they should accept the challenge, believing humanity's curiosity and restraint would demonstrate their worthiness. Alex agreed, eager to uncover the secrets of the singularity. But Daniel remained cautious, reminding them of the stakes. We're dealing with forces we don't fully understand, he said. One wrong move, and we could end up like the people who built this place. As the discussion continued, Solon watched silently, its glow dimming further as if sensing their uncertainty. Finally, Sophie turned to Daniel. Let's prove ourselves, she urged. We've always been explorers, learners. That's our strength. If we show Solon that we respect its role and the dangers of the singularity, maybe it will trust us. After a long pause, Daniel nodded. All right, he said. But we do this together, and carefully. With renewed determination, the crew prepared to face the next challenge, knowing that earning Solon's trust would be no small feat. Yet, deep down, they believed in their ability to rise to the occasion. After all, humanity had always thrived when faced with the impossible. The crew of the *EOS* spent the next several hours preparing to prove their worth to Solon. They knew this was their only chance to gain access to the singularity, but they also understood the risks. If they failed, or worse, if they appeared greedy or reckless, Solon might deny them completely or even force them to leave this dimension. Each member of the team had a role to play, and tensions ran high as they worked together. Emily Shaw focused on gathering more data about the singularity. Using her equipment, she mapped out its energy patterns and compared them to the ruins they had explored earlier. She hoped to show Solon that they were interested in understanding, not exploiting, the power hidden here. If we can demonstrate that we're careful and respectful, she explained to the others, maybe it will trust us. Alex Rivera, meanwhile, double-checked every system on the ship. He wanted to make sure the *EOS* was ready for anything, whether it meant leaving quickly or defending themselves if things went wrong. Though Alex wasn't one for long speeches, he quietly reminded himself that their survival depended on being prepared. As he worked, he muttered under his breath, "We didn't come all this way just to screw it up now." Sophie Bennett took the lead in communicating with Solon. She spent hours studying the symbols and patterns the crystalline being used, refining her translations. Her goal was to build a bridge of trust between humanity and Solon. At first, progress was slow. Solon's responses were cautious, almost hesitant, as if testing their intentions. But Sophie persisted, speaking gently and honestly. "We're explorers," she repeated during one exchange. "We seek knowledge, not destruction." Captain Daniel Hayes kept a close eye on everyone, ensuring they stayed focused. He knew how easy it would be for frustration or fear to take over, especially when dealing with something as mysterious as Solon. "Stay calm," he reminded them often. "This isn't just about us. It's about showing what humans are capable of." Despite his outward confidence, Daniel couldn't shake the weight of responsibility resting on his shoulders. If they made the wrong decision, it could cost them everything. As the crew worked, an unexpected challenge arose. A second ship entered the dimension, a human vessel commanded by Nathan Cole, a rogue operative known for pushing boundaries and taking risks. Nathan's arrival threw the team into chaos. His ship landed nearby, and he marched toward them with a group of armed followers. "You didn't think you'd get all the glory, did you?" Nathan sneered, his eyes gleaming with ambition. He had tracked the EOS after intercepting their initial reports to Earth and intended to claim the Singularity's power for himself. Nathan wasted no time making demands. "Step aside," he ordered Daniel. "This discovery belongs to humanity, and I'm here to make sure we use it." His tone left no room for negotiation. When Daniel refused, Nathan grew angry. "You're weak," he spat, "always playing it safe. The Singularity could change everything. End poverty, cure diseases, give us unlimited energy. Who cares about some ancient guardian?" The confrontation escalated quickly. Nathan's followers surrounded the crew, weapons drawn, while Solon watched silently from a distance. Its glow dimmed further, as if sensing the conflict unfolding below. Sufi tried to reason with Nathan, explaining the dangers of the Singularity and the importance of earning Solon's trust. But Nathan dismissed her warnings, calling her naive. "We don't need permission," he snapped. "We're superior. That's why we're here." Tensions reached a breaking point when Nathan ordered his team to approach the ruins where the Singularity was believed to reside. Daniel stepped forward, blocking their path. "You'll destroy us all," he said firmly. For a moment, it seemed like violence was inevitable. Then, unexpectedly, Lisa Monroe intervened. She had been quietly observing the situation and realized that reopening the Singularity required a specific frequency emitted by the EOS asterisk. Without hesitation, she sabotaged the ship's core, disabling its ability to produce that frequency. Her actions stunned everyone, including Nathan. "What have you done?" he demanded, furious. Lisa met his gaze without flinching. "I stopped you from making a mistake we can't undo," she replied. Realizing he couldn't proceed without the EOS asterisk, Nathan hesitated. It was enough time for Daniel to appeal to him directly, reminding him of humanity's greatest strength, the ability to recognize limits and act responsibly. For a brief moment, Nathan wavered, but ultimately, pride won out. Ignoring Daniel's plea, he chose to stay behind as the dimension began collapsing around them. Solon intervened, sealing the portal permanently to prevent further interference. With seconds to spare, the crew of the EOS escaped back to their own universe, leaving Nathan to face the consequences of his ambition. When the crew of the EOS returned to their own universe, they found themselves greeted with mixed reactions. News of their mission had spread quickly, and people across human colonies were eager to hear what they had discovered. Some viewed them as heroes who had ventured into the unknown and returned safely. Others saw them as reckless adventurers who had risked everything for a gamble that could have ended in disaster. The Galactic Council, made up of representatives from various alien species, was equally divided in its response. Ambassador Catherine Hale stood by the crew, defending their actions during a heated meeting. She argued that humanity's willingness to explore and take risks was what set them apart. "We didn't go there to conquer or exploit," she said firmly. "We went to learn, to push the boundaries of what we know. Isn't that why we explore space at all?" Her words resonated with some council members, but others remained skeptical. A representative from an insectoid species leaned forward, his voice buzzing with irritation. "You humans act without thinking of consequences. What if your curiosity had unleashed destruction on the galaxy?" The question hung in the air, heavy and unanswered. Captain Daniel Hayes stepped forward, his expression calm but resolute. He recounted their journey, the strange dimension, the ruins, Solon, and the Singularity. He explained how they had faced temptation and conflict, choosing restraint over greed. "We proved something important," he said, looking directly at the council. "Not every mystery needs to be solved, and not every power needs to be claimed. Sometimes, the greatest strength is knowing when to stop." His words earned nods from some, but others weren't convinced. Commander Nathan Cole's betrayal weighed heavily on everyone's minds. Though Nathan had been left behind in the collapsing dimension, his actions had raised questions about humanity's intentions. Would other humans follow his example, seeking power no matter the cost? Or would they honor the lessons learned from Solon? Dr. Emily Shaw added her perspective, speaking passionately about the scientific value of their findings. "We didn't unlock the secrets of the singularity," she admitted, "but we gained something even more important: understanding. We saw the mistakes of a civilization that came before us, and we chose not to repeat them. That knowledge will guide us as we continue exploring the stars." Sophie Bennett agreed, emphasizing the importance of communication and respect. "Solon taught us that trust must be earned," she said softly. "It wasn't just guarding the singularity, it was protecting the balance of the universe. If we can carry that lesson forward, we'll become better explorers and better neighbors." Despite these arguments, the debate raged on. Some council members proposed banning humans from further exploration of dangerous regions like the Andromeda Expanse. Others suggested imposing strict regulations on future missions. Through it all, the crew of the EOS remained united, standing by their decisions and the values they represented. Back on Earth, public opinion mirrored the divided reactions within the council. Debates filled news channels and social media platforms. Protesters gathered outside government buildings, holding signs both supporting and opposing the mission. Families of astronauts watched interviews with pride, while critics called for investigations into the ethics of sending humans into such risky situations. For every person who celebrated the crew's bravery, there was another who questioned whether the risks outweighed the rewards. Amidst the chaos, Dr. Ryan Carter reflected on the journey. Sitting in his office, surrounded by notes and charts from the mission, he thought about how far they had come, and how much farther humanity still had to go. "No one thought we could do this," he murmured to himself, echoing his earlier words to Lisa Monroe. "But we did." He smiled faintly, remembering the shimmering portal, the floating islands, and Solon's glowing presence. It had been a leap into the impossible, and though they hadn't brought back answers to every question, they had brought back something greater: hope. As days turned into weeks, life began to settle into a new normal. The crew returned to their respective fields, using their experiences to inspire others. Daniel gave speeches at schools, encouraging young people to dream big and think carefully. Emily published papers detailing her observations, sparking discussions among scientists worldwide. Sophie worked on improving translation technology, hoping to bridge gaps between species. Even Alex found purpose in sharing stories of teamwork and resilience. In quiet moments, they sometimes wondered about Nathan Cole. Had he survived the collapse of the dimension? Did he regret his choices? These questions lingered, unanswered, but they served as reminders of the thin line between ambition and recklessness. One evening, under a sky filled with stars, Daniel stood alone on a hill overlooking the city. Humanity's achievements stretched out before him, lights glittering like constellations, but his gaze drifted upward, toward the endless expanse above. Somewhere out there lay mysteries waiting to be uncovered, challenges yet to be faced. He felt a deep sense of gratitude for the journey behind him and for the one still ahead. Humanity had taken a step into the unknown, proving once again that they were capable of achieving the impossible. But more importantly, they had shown that courage wasn't just about taking risks. It was about doing so wisely, with humility and respect. And as Daniel gazed at the stars, he knew their greatest adventures were far from over. Months passed since the crew of the EOS returned from their mission to the Andromeda Expanse. The journey had changed them in ways they couldn't fully explain, and its impact rippled through humanity as a whole. The story of Solon, the singularity, and the choices they made became a symbol of what it meant to be human, curious, brave, and capable of restraint when faced with temptation. Dr. Ryan Carter spent his days reflecting on the lessons learned during the mission. He often visited schools and universities, sharing his experiences with eager students. "We didn't solve every mystery," he would say, standing before a room full of wide-eyed young faces. But we proved something just as important, that asking questions is how we grow. His words inspired many, planting seeds of curiosity in the next generation of explorers. Lisa Monroe, who had risked everything by sabotaging the ship's core to prevent Nathan Cole's reckless plan, found herself hailed as a hero. At first, she struggled with the attention, feeling uncomfortable being called courageous or selfless. But over time, she came to see her actions as part of a larger truth. Sometimes doing the right thing isn't about grand gestures, she told an interviewer. It's about making small choices that protect others, even if it scares you. Captain Daniel Hayes continued leading missions, but he also took on a new role as an advocate for responsible exploration. He worked closely with the Galactic Council, helping draft guidelines for future expeditions into uncharted regions of space. Though some alien leaders remained wary of humanity's intentions, Daniel's calm demeanor and thoughtful arguments helped build trust. "We're not perfect," he admitted during one council meeting. "But we're learning, and that's what matters." Emily Shaw poured her energy into studying the data collected during the mission. Her research shed light on the nature of the singularity and the advanced civilization that had once harnessed its power. She published her findings in scientific journals, sparking debates among experts across the galaxy. "Understanding doesn't always mean control," she reminded her colleagues. "Sometimes it means knowing enough to step back." Sophie Bennett focused on improving communication between species. Inspired by her interactions with Solon, she developed new tools to decode alien languages and cultural symbols. Her work earned recognition from both humans and extraterrestrial communities, bridging gaps that had once seemed impossible to cross. "Every language tells a story," she said during a conference, "and every story brings us closer together." Alex Rivera returned to engineering, using what he had learned about the Eo's performance in extreme conditions to design better ships. He joked that his job was making sure no one gets stranded near a black hole again. But his innovations had far-reaching benefits. New vessels were safer, faster, and more reliable, opening doors for further exploration. Meanwhile, humanity's relationship with the Galactic Council began to shift. While skepticism lingered, respect for human ingenuity and determination grew. Catherine Hale played a key role in this change, championing humanity's potential while holding them accountable for their actions. "We're still learning," she told the council during one session. "But so are you. Together, we can do incredible things." The memory of Nathan Cole served as a cautionary tale. His greed and arrogance had nearly led to disaster, reminding everyone of the dangers of unchecked ambition. Yet his story also highlighted humanity's ability to choose differently, to value wisdom over power and cooperation over domination. As years went by, the crew of the Eo's stayed connected, meeting regularly to share updates on their lives and careers. They often talked about the shimmering dimension and wondered if Solon still watched over the ruins. Though they might never return, they carried its lessons with them wherever they went. One evening, Daniel stood outside his home, gazing at the stars. The sky stretched endlessly above him, filled with mysteries waiting to be uncovered. He thought about the impossible journey they had taken, the risks they had faced, and the choices they had made. For a moment, he felt a pang of longing, wishing he could see Solon one more time. But then he smiled, realizing that the true legacy of their mission wasn't what they had left behind. It was the path they had paved for the future. Humanity's greatest strength, Daniel realized, wasn't in solving every puzzle or conquering every challenge. It was in their willingness to dream big, ask hard questions, and learn from their mistakes. As he looked up at the stars, he knew that their adventures were only beginning. Somewhere out there, new worlds awaited, filled with wonders beyond imagination, and humanity would be ready to meet them.